Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be relationships, giving versus getting your needs met. So I've got an email success story. This particular guy, he's young, he's 22. His girlfriend is 24. They've been dating since December, so that's about, 8 months now that they've been together. They became exclusive in May, obviously, after she brought it up because he's a pretty good student of my first book, 3% Man. He says he's read it 10 times. And they've both been through the 5 love languages, and both of them, their love language is quality time. But he says the thing that's different from what I talk about in the book is they're only seeing each other 1 to 2 times per week, and she only reaches out every 4 to 5 days after they've seen each other. And since quality time supposedly is both of their love languages, he's thinking, how come she's not calling and texting me a couple times a day? And so he's bothered by the amount of time that they're spending together. And so just at the outset, if you're familiar with what's in 3% Man, if you follow the progression in the book, with most women, these are assuming they're normal, happy, healthy women, will be in love with you by about week 7. So if you think about the fact they started dating in December when they met, and she didn't ask him to be exclusive till May, that was almost 6 months. And so one of two things is going on there. Either she's a little messed up, which is totally possible, or on some level he's still communicating that he's way more into her than she is into him, and he's trying a little too hard, and she could sense that and feel that. In other words, he's becoming perturbed, and it's coming through in their communication. And the other thing is he's 22 years old. He's young, but he's having great success, obviously, with what he learned in my book. So I got a quote that I wrote, and then we'll go through his email and see what we can do to help him tweak his approach so he gets the desired results. The quote says, relationships are about giving, helping each other grow and become more, and meeting each other's needs. Love is freedom. Love is allowing. If you try to force love or others to do what you want or spend more time with you than they are willing to, they will bounce because they feel like they are losing their freedom. No matter how infatuated in love or in lust you are with someone, eventually that will wear off. If both people are happy, whole, complete, and content with themselves, the relationship will continue to be stable and fulfilling. If one or both people are not, imbalances will arise, leading to problems and hurt feelings. Get to a place where you are happy being alone before trying to get to a happy place with someone else. Otherwise, you run the risk of making each other miserable. There's a lot to be said about having patience, and being a 51-year-old dude, that's the one thing that across the board, every area of your life, whether it's your career, maybe you're waiting for a promotion to come through, maybe you're hoping to land a big client that will change your business for the better, maybe you're hoping your stocks take off, your stonks, your crypto, or whatever it happens to be, or your house to sell, or to get a job if you're looking for a job, or to find a girlfriend, or maybe you're a young guy and you're still trying to lose your virginity, find the right girl that you're going to lose your virginity with. Whatever it happens to be, human beings naturally want everything now, but the reality is all great things take time. And so if you're getting impatient, impatience never commands success, because when you become impatient and you become perturbed, you become uncentered, and you typically make mistakes. And especially when it comes to a woman, if you're perturbed, you don't make her feel safe and comfortable because you're like an erupting volcano. So with that said, let's go through his email. It says, Dear Coach, I hope you're well and having a great day as always. I am 22, pursuing my master's degree in business, started my own business on the side, and am very passionate about personal development. And I wanted to share a success story and also have a follow-up question and would appreciate your take on the situation. I've read 3% Man 10 times and Mastering Yourself 1 time. Obviously, the first book, 3% Man, Mastering Yourself, the second book. You can read them both for free at understandingrelationships.com. Just subscribe to the email newsletter. He says, thank you for what you are doing and showing up consistently in spite all that's happening. No drama allowed. Back in December 2020, I met my now girlfriend, who is 24, and started dating her. She's smart, beautiful, and reliable. However, she seemed rather emotionally cold and distant. She told me she had some bad experiences with dating other guys in the past and has never had any long-term partner or relationship before. So typically a woman who's 24, she's hot, she's attractive, usually by that age has probably had 2 or 3 boyfriends since high school. Maybe she's got high standards. Maybe she comes from a good family. Maybe she's a little screwed up. The reality is all of us are screwed up to a certain degree. It's like whatever happens in childhood, we often spend at least the first 10 or 20 years of adulthood trying to overcome the trauma of our childhood and the scars that it leaves on us. That is why she said she is struggling to open herself emotionally, make herself vulnerable, and letting feelings grow and develop. I'm going to read that again. That is why she said she is struggling to open herself emotionally, make herself vulnerable, and letting feelings grow and develop. So right there is the strategy, because she likes you, and she told you what you need to do to love and support her. Dude, you're 22 years old. What is the rush? Think about the reality is no matter how much you love somebody, just like I talked about in the quote, the infatuation, the honeymoon period is going to wear off, and eventually you're going to get bored of each other. That's the reality. So why be in a rush? Women have to feel safe and comfortable. That means you provide the environment, the rock, you're the mountain. You're the unperturbable, immovable mountain. You're not perturbed by what the changes are in the weather or how she shows up. You're just always there with open arms, ready to hang out, have fun, and hook up. By giving her the time and space away from me to wonder what I was doing and to miss me, she slowly started opening up and pursuing exactly as you teach in your book. So far, so good. We were seeing each other once or twice per week, and I let her come to me at her own pace by letting her reach out to me. She did 90% of the contact initiation. Well, as I talk about in 3% Man, if she'll do 100% of it or 99% of it, you should let her do that, especially a woman like this. Because you pursue too much, she's not going to feel safe and comfortable. She's going to feel like she's being smothered. Remember the Thich Nhat Hanh quote, you must love in such a way that the person you love feels free, especially so with a woman like this. And if you're upset that you're not spending enough time together, whether you realize it or not, you're going to communicate that in your demeanor, the tone of your voice, your physiology. She's going to feel that because women are very intuitive. They're very connected to their emotions, unlike most of us guys. After a couple of months, she told me that I'm very different to all other guys she met before and that I make her feel free and safe and comfortable. That's the important thing. We always have a great time together, have lots of fun going out. She's very submissive, ready to do everything I want. She's opened up more and become more vulnerable, and she told me she wants us to be together in May, and we have been together since. I'd rate her attraction level a 9. I'd say probably it's maybe an 8, high 7, low 8. It's always better to underrate it. Because if you look at the attraction table, the chapter, it's all in the numbers from 3% Man, there are things that you'll see in a second here that she's not doing. In other words, she's still inhibited. She's still not completely open and pursuing and all over you like white on rice. And at the end of the day, you're writing me an email not happy about how much time you're spending together. So obviously it bothers you. And if it's bothering you, you've obviously had conversations with her about it because she gave you an answer. She basically said, slow down. Let me come to you. I remember this like it was yesterday. One of my girlfriends that I wrote about in my book, we were sitting in a car and we were talking, we were parked in our driveway, and she looked at me and she says, Corey, you have to let me come to you. Don't try to force things. Because I was trying to force things. I wanted to spend more time together, and I was perturbed. I was bothered that we weren't, and she could feel it. And she didn't like it, and it didn't make her feel safe and comfortable. She didn't like me getting perturbed or bothered by the fact we weren't spending enough time together. And between her and her mother, it's like things kind of clicked. There's a very fine balance there. And I would say more than likely, because you're 22, you're still, whether you realize it or not, pursuing too much, trying too hard. But again, we got to keep in mind that she seems, at least from what she said, she might be a little messed up, but she's working on it. So he says, since we have become exclusive, we also did the 5 love languages, and both of our primary love languages is spending quality time. However, what is bothering me is she is still reaching out only 4 to 5 days after our dates and not texting or calling me once or twice a day, as you say in your book, when she is in love. In reality, a lot of older guys would be like, what's the problem with that? Again, dude, you're 22. You shouldn't be bothered by this. And the fact that you're bothered by this is part of the vibe that you're giving off, and she can pick up on it. So we only see each other 1 to 2 days a week, which is not meeting my needs in a relationship. I'm wondering whether I should communicate my needs to her directly. So think about it from this perspective. Remember, you must love in such a way that the person you love feels free. You want to spend more time together. She's reaching out and pursuing you as much as she's emotionally ready to do. And if you try to force her to spend more time with you, what do you think's going to happen? She's actually going to back off and feel smothered. She's even told you to let her come to you. And that also as a compliment to you, she feels free and safe. At the end of the day, it's really about how she feels about you, because that's what's going to influence her behavior. And you also mentioned that you're doing, like I said earlier, you're still doing 10% of the pursuing. If you want her to pursue you more, I would slowly back off and get that down to where you're only pursuing 5%. And then maybe a few weeks from now, you let her do 99 or 100% of the pursuing. That could be the subtle difference that's a difference. Maybe that 90% pursuing that you think you're doing, maybe it's higher. Maybe you're doing 20% of the pursuing instead of the 10% that you think you are. And I see that a lot of time with guys will be talking, and then I'll be like, well, okay, so what percentage are you reaching out first versus her? It's like, well, it's about 50-50. I've talked to guys that have read the book 15, 20 times. I was like, you just told me it was 50-50, and you're wondering why you got friend zoned. Yeah, but I was like, it's right in the book, dude. I know, but it's hard, man. You over pursue, she's going to back away, especially a woman that does it, that already potentially has some wounds from previous boyfriends or her family or whatever. If a woman will do 100% of the pursuing, let her. She'll love you more and be more attracted to you if she does. If she starts to complain about it, then I would reach out once a week. Maybe you send her a note. Maybe you text her randomly. Maybe a WhatsApp message. Maybe you send her a cute little meme. Maybe send her an email. Maybe you write a little card telling her a bunch of things that you love about her. Mail it to her house. Mail it to her office or whatever. Just some little thing that communicates you're thinking about her if she starts to complain. But if she doesn't, let her do 100% of it. She might say something about it, like my English girlfriend. She used to bring it up occasionally, and we used to laugh and joke about it. But I never changed my approach because it really didn't bother her. The fact that she brought it up it was really because she was worried about it, but she didn't mind doing all the pursuing. And you have fun with it. But if it really becomes a problem, then like I said, maybe once a week you reach out in a different way every week to communicate that you care. Because that's really what they're looking for. If you don't ever pursue and it bothers her and she keeps bringing it up 2 or 3 times and gets upset about it, she's feeling like you're not making any effort and you don't care. That's why you change it up. You leave a little note on the visor in her car that says, "Have a great day, babe. I love you. I'm thinking about you. Can't wait to see you tonight," or whatever. I'm wondering if I should communicate my needs to her directly or work on becoming more unperturbable. Yes, you should work on becoming more unperturbable. Continuing to let her come to me. Yes, you must let women come to you at their own pace, especially a woman like this. She's already told you she likes you. She's helping you. But you also got to keep in mind the fact that you guys dated for almost 6 months before she asked to become exclusive. So even though you've read 3% Man 10 times, if I just look at her actions and your actions, I can tell more than likely you were still probably pursuing too much. Because typically, as long as you're dealing with a normal, happy, healthy woman, they'll be in love by week 7 and asking you to be exclusive around that same time. So it took 6 months to get there. So more than likely, you're not realizing it, but you're still communicating that you're bothered and you're perturbed. After all, I want her to be and feel free and love her for what she is. Am I becoming impatient, too perturbable, and need to exercise more emotional self-control as she has trouble letting me more in her life because she hates becoming dependent on someone? Yes, you should. You're obviously bothered by this. Again, you wrote an email to me about it, that you want to spend more time with your girl, but if you read my book 10 times, you know what happens. And my girlfriend that I wrote about in the book, when I was talking about we were sitting in the driveway, having that conversation, you got to let me come to you. I had a hell of a time. It took me 1.5 years bouncing back and forth. I'd pursue too much. She'd lose interest. She'd back off. Then I would stop pursuing. She would come back, start pursuing me hard for a month or 2. And then I was too much of a cold fish. And then she'd get upset. And then she'd start backing off. And then I would start pursuing more, and then I would pursue too much. So I was finding that sweet spot. And it was really about how I felt inside. Because once I felt good inside, and I felt peaceful, and I felt relaxed, and I didn't feel afraid of losing her anymore, I did everything right. And it was effortless. And it's been effortless ever since that. And it's a great place to be as a man, because when you're not worried about your woman, you really can focus on your purpose and mission in life and be really successful. But if you're always in the back of your mind worried about what your woman is doing or not doing, it wreaks havoc on your professional life. He says, should I communicate my needs to her in a loving way? Well, that's the problem. Your need is neediness. You need more strokes. Go spend time with your friends. Go hang out with your parents or your family or people that love you. Be more focused on building your business. You got to learn to be calm and relaxed and slow it down. So like I said, the big takeaway for you, you say she's doing 90%. Over the next several weeks, I'd back off so she's doing 95%. And if you can get away with it, let her do 100% of the pursuing. And then it becomes her idea. And maybe you don't see each other for 1.5 weeks or 2 weeks, whatever it happens to be. You have to be okay with not seeing her as much as you want to. The fact that you're bothered by that is really more than likely, as long as she's not a Fruit Loop, is what's causing her to still be at a distance. Because again, it took 6 months before she brought up being exclusive. And when I've done phone sessions with thousands of guys over the years, and you see the same pattern over and over and over and over again. And like I said, what I get from you, the tone of your email, and what you've shared that you're doing, and most importantly, how she's responding to you, I can tell what's really going on. And I'd say, whether you realize it or not, you're still pursuing a little too much. Might not necessarily be the calling or the texting, but when you're together, you're communicating your irritation with the fact that you want to see her more. She doesn't want to hear that you're bothered by that. She wants to know, well, remember, it's a scientific fact that women are more attracted to men whose feelings are unclear. And so if you're communicating too much interest, this is what's going to happen. And so if you're communicating less interest, in other words, if you're not bothered by the fact that you're only, because the reality, if you've been with somebody 6 months, a year, 2 years, and you're a busy professional, a lot of times what happens, unless you're living together, you get in a rhythm where you're only hanging out 1 or 2 days a week, or you're only hanging out on the weekends, and the rest of the week you're slaying the dragons. And I'm sure there's some guys that are watching this going like, what's this dude complaining about? Only 1 or 2 times a week. It's like, I get time to focus on all the other things I want to do. This is great. Because the reality is, you're living under the same roof together, you're always going to be together. And the reality is, no matter who it is, you're going to get bored. No matter how hot the girl is, eventually there's some dude somewhere that's tired of fucking her. That's the reality. So if you've got a question or a challenge in your personal or your professional life and you'd like to get my help with it, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and book a coaching session with yours truly. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.